Christy, here at the Olsen Law Group, we're all about helping people to avoid probate. And people want to avoid probate because it's expensive and it takes a long time. And when we're going through our checklist with the clients and creating an action plan for them of things to do, one of the things I always ask them is, do they have a safe deposit box? And back in the day, a lot of people did. These days, not so many. But if you do have a safe deposit box, if you took all steps necessary to avoid probate, and yet you pass away with a safe deposit box in your name only, it will require probate, a few $1,000s in a few weeks to get into that box, and that can be very disappointing for your kids if it's just got some old paperwork in it or it's empty. And believe me, Christy, in 45 years of law practice, I've seen that happen plenty of times.
Absolutely. And as much as we try to help people avoid probate, including with the safety deposit box, because you're right, Tom, there may be nothing else to probate. If you have a safety deposit box and you cannot get into it, the only way is probate.
So I tell people you have two choices if you got a safe deposit box. Number one, hey, get rid of it. Most people aren't using it anyway. They'll say, I just got some little paperwork in it. And consider getting rid of it. Most people keep a safe at home, a fireproof safe to be more exact. But sometimes people say, yeah, I've got quite a bit of valuable jewelry in there, and that's where I like to keep it, and I don't blame them. And so if you're going to keep your safe deposit box, you'd want to add one or more of your children as a co-owner of that box, and they would need to know where your key is so they could get into that safe deposit box while you're alive, and they can still get into it even if you pass away. So
Exactly.
good advice if you got a safe deposit box. Again, the bottom line is either you're going to get rid of it because you just don't need it anymore, and sometimes people say, oh, my bank gives me a free safe deposit box. Well, if you pass away and your kids spend a few $1,000s to get into that empty safe deposit box, it's not free anymore. And
Exactly.
or add one or more of your children as a co-owner of that box. Now, let's go a little deeper dive in that, okay? If you have a safe deposit box that's got some very valuable jewelry in it, and you've got 3 kids, if you have 3 kids, if you co-own it with just one of those kids, the law says when you pass away, the contents of that box belongs to that one child who co-owned that box with you. If this is important to you, if you got some very valuable jewelry in there and you want that very valuable jewelry to belong to all 3 of your kids, you would really need to add all 3 of your kids as co-owners of that box. And that way, that means the jewelry would belong equally to all 3 kids when you pass away. So keep that in mind if you've got a safe deposit box.
Yes.